music drama in Nashville. While the circumstances surrounding her death remain unknown, Panettiere's father told CNN, quote, "She was an incredible light and a force of nature who brought immeasurable love and joy to all those who knew her and to the millions who watched her on screen." Joining me now is TV host and entertainment journalist Xishi Yang to talk more about this developing story. Xishi, thank you so much for joining us as we continue to learn more. Let's go straight to you. I mean, what are you learning about the circumstances surrounding her death, and also some of the tributes that are coming in? I mean, 36 years old.
Good morning, Paulo. Hollywood and the world is mourning the loss of actress Hayden Panettiere at just 36 years old. Last night, when we all heard the breaking news, it was so gut-wrenching. Everybody felt it because Hayden Panettiere was a national treasure. For over 30 years, we all saw her grow up on screen. Her first commercial was when she was 11 months old. When she was a little girl, she was a soap opera star. And then at the age of 10, she booked a movie that completely changed the trajectory of her life and career. Remember the Titans. And then came Heroes, a TV show that made her a household name. Then her role in Nashville garnered her 2 Golden Globe nominations. I think this is why, even beyond all the celebrity tributes, all the fans and a whole generation is really in mourning because she's so near and dear to our hearts. We watched her grow up for the last 30 years.
Yeah, and as you were speaking, you were seeing her in her childhood as she was doing making the press rounds during the release of Remember the Titans. And on that, I'm just curious, how did she help shed more light on the trauma that many child stars experience?
I think Hayden was going through such a change in her life and career because earlier this May, she released her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, and it really is her reclaiming her own narrative, shedding light on the fact that all the glitz and glam that we see surrounding child stars is so far from the reality of what she's been through. She was completely candid about some of the immense pressure that she felt working since she was a baby, her struggles with addiction, her postpartum depression, motherhood, complicated relationships with her family. She really did go through it all. And I think she was just at the phase in her life when she was reclaiming her story after Hollywood has been telling her story for so many years. She was taking back her power, taking back her voice. And this is why I feel her death was so untimely, because after spending almost her entire life being defined by Hollywood, she was finally telling her story, and this is just so heartbreaking.
And on that note, I mean, when she was making basically the press tour, she told the Hollywood Reporter, "I realized it was more important for me to share my stories and to wipe the slate clean." I think that's really punctuates that last point you just made, which was, I mean, she was, as you lay out, at a stage in her life where she wanted to take control of that. And just speak to more of that, the significance of putting her own story out there, and it must have been extremely vulnerable for her.
Extremely vulnerable. She spoke candidly about how at the age of 12, she was faced with her identity crisis. She didn't know who she was. And she described her strive for perfectionism, her people-pleasing ways, almost like a military-style discipline. She was trained as a child to constantly say yes, 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 and she was unable to set those boundaries. So she was really candid about a lot of the struggles that she went through. And then she also, of course, opened up about her estranged relationship with her mother, Leslie, who was her manager for much of her career. And Leslie publicly disputed the book and said a lot of the claims were false. But Hayden, and Leslie said Hayden wrote those things because she wanted to sell books, but Hayden slammed all the accusations and said she told her truth. And even though they weren't on speaking terms, she still welcomed a relationship with her. And she also spoke the biggest heartbreak in her life, which was losing her brother, Jensen, due to an undetected heart disease back in 2023. It was something that she was, as an older sister, she wrote that she felt like she failed to protect her younger brother, and it was something that she never quite recovered from.
And she was also very well known for, she was a recognized supporting figure for animal rights. You mentioned also especially mental health awareness and even environmental issues. Closing thought from you, Gigi, how do you think she will be remembered?
Hayden Panettiere is our national treasure, and I think she will forever be remembered for her resilience. I think it's quite fitting that her last post on Instagram was from 2 weeks ago, when she posted a photo with her friends with a simple caption, "Good times and good friends," and I think that's an image that's really worth holding on to. Hayden, surrounded by her loved ones, finding these little moments of joy after everything that she's been through.
At just 36 years old. Gigi Jane, thank you so much for coming on and helping us better understand her life.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's switch gears now. President Trump's son-in-law is in the Middle East at this hour, hoping to find a way to get that Gaza peace talk process back on track. Sources are telling CNN that Jared Kushner met with the leader of Hamas, and in the coming hours, he'll be meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has rejected President Trump's 15-point peace plan for Gaza. Ministers from 7 countries in the region, as well as Indonesia, released a joint statement condemning Israel's rejection. They're warning that it could undermine efforts to end the war and to achieve a lasting political settlement. CNN's Paul Hancock is following the latest out of Abu Dhabi. So what is the latest now? Essentially, yet another stalemate?
Well, Paolo, what we're expecting today, this Monday, a diplomatic source says that Kushner, along with the Board of Peace Director, Nikolai Mladenov, will be in Israel. They'll be meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, really trying to keep this Gaza peace plan on track. Now, on Sunday, what we saw was a very rare meeting between a senior US envoy and Hamas leadership. He did meet with the Hamas leader, Khalil al-Hayya. We don't have any details of how that meeting went, but it's a very rare meeting between the two. We know that Kushner reportedly just once before has met Hamas, and that was in October of last year when they were trying to secure that ceasefire between the two sides, which then led to the release of some of the hostages within Gaza as well. We do know as well that Kushner and Mladenov met with the Egyptian presidents. The meeting with Hamas was in Egypt. We had a readout from that side, and they said that Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the president, discussed, quote, the need for all parties to fulfill their obligations under the agreement to stop the war in the Gaza Strip. Just at the end of last month, President Trump had issued his 15-point Gaza peace plan. There was silence for a week from the Israeli Prime Minister, and then he publicly rejected that plan, saying that the Israeli military will not withdraw until Hamas is completely disarmed. So it is a stumbling block in this whole process. It was never expected to be smooth, and of course it's complicated by the fact that there will be elections in Israel in October, so it's unlikely that the Israeli Prime Minister is going to want to make any substantial concessions to this process before that time. We've also seen many members of his far-right coalition suggesting that Gaza should be reoccupied, should be settled by Jewish settlers. So he's fighting against that far-right element as well when trying to agree this process. Now, the peace plan itself, it was supposed to have sequenced steps. It was supposed to have Hamas completely disarming, Israel stopping attacks in Gaza, and also then the Israeli military pulling out of Gaza. That last issue problematic for the Israeli Prime Minister, saying that simply isn't going to happen until there is a complete Hamas disarmament. So what we're seeing here is this mediation to try and bridge the gaps between the two sides, trying to keep this process on track, this phase 2 of this Gaza peace plan, which is supposed to see Hamas completely disarmed and Hamas rule replaced by a technocratic administration of Palestinians. So what we will see today is those meetings in Israel as Jared Kushner and others try to convince the Israeli Prime Minister to stay the course and to continue down this border peace path.
Yeah, Prime Minister, though, as you point out, is certainly feeling the pressures back home, the political pressures. Paula Hancock's grateful for your reporting as always. Thank you. Joint military exercises between the U.S. and South Korea kicked off today, just hours after President Donald Trump ordered the Pentagon to substantially scale them back. In a social media post announcing the change, the president cited his positive relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, saying that the drills send a signal that is, quote, inappropriate and hostile to North Korea. The president also cited sort of lack of assistance with Iran. He said that he recently asked South Korea's president if they'd like to join the, quote, denuclearization of Iran, and that they said no. CNN's Gage Golding is following developments from Hong Kong. Gage, good to see you. So help us unpack what was a very lengthy post by President Trump.
Yeah, it kind of is all over the place, and it has that little additive in there that, hey, South Korea did not help us with Iran. But let's talk about, the bigger thing. This is a large-scale military exercise. It's joint between the United States and South Korea. About 18,000 South Korean military members join the 28,500 members that are stationed in and around South Korea. So it's a big operation. It happens every year, last 10 days. It was kicking off today, and then really in the 11th hour, the president says it's too late to cancel. However, we're going to scale it back dramatically, all in the same sense, posting on Truth Social that, look, we have great relations right now with North Korea, and actually even yesterday, the president posting a picture of him and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un saying that we might not be smiling in this picture, but, we have a great relationship. We're doing really well together. You can see the picture there. So it kind of was a precursor to what we saw today. The picture, popped up in my feed. I was kind of questioning it, thinking of what exactly was going on. In New this hour, we're actually hearing from the leaders of the South Korean government, the Blue House there, which is the executive leadership, where they say that the Korean government, they're aware of what is posted on social media, and they do really hope that this is a way for an amicable relationship between the North Korean government and the United States, going on to say that they are working closely with the United States, specifically on the exercise there. They also went on, kind of like that Truth Social post that went on pretty far, they said that they are actively participating in ways to help the discussion for a ceasefire in Iran and to open the passage of the Strait of Hormuz. So a lot to unpack there, but notice that it wasn't a jab back at the United States. The United States to South Korea is a key ally. Again, just under 30,000 troops are stationed in South Korea. This is an annual exercise. But Paul, I think it's really important to note that there are two big things to take away from this. One, President Trump previously in his first term in 2018 and 2019 worked to scale back this multi-freedom shield is the name of this exercise, and he scaled it back, and then COVID-19 in the years of 2020 and 21 also had it scaled back. So he's familiar with this, and this was not his first attempt to scale it back. However, on the flip side of that, this may be something of sort of like an olive branch to the North Korean government and the leader Kim Jong-un saying, hey, maybe we should get back to the table to talk a little bit, because they haven't really had a conversation during this term that we're aware of. They met 3 times in the past, in 2018 and 2019. That was during President Trump's first term. Polo, they haven't met yet in this second term.
Great reporting, Gage Goldman. Thank you so much, and welcome to CNN. Great to have you. All right, still a lot more on the way here on CNN Newsroom, including communities in Puerto Rico. They are going days without running water as the U.S. territory grapples with a worsening drought. After the break, a local journalist tells me how the growing water crisis is disrupting daily life for many people.
When curiosity strikes about the everyday lives of your family, we're here with answers only your ancestors can provide. See their stories at Ancestry.
So I heard Fisher Investments is a fiduciary.
Yes, we always put clients first, even if that means a little straight talking.
Like what?
We tell our clients what they need to hear, like if their lifestyle might lead them to outlive their money.
We'd want to know that.
Other times, we keep clients from making big investment mistakes that can impact their future.
We'd want to know that too.
At Fisher, we use a disciplined approach, keeping you on track for a comfortable retirement. At Fisher Investments, we're clear